Yeah,
Cool.
that was nice. Louis Tomlinson, welcome to Total Access.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm all right, thanks.
I've just shown you the things that your fans have sent me.
Pretty sick.
I'm
pretty
wearing the
sick.
badges.
You got the badges on.
I mean,
yeah. Doing it proper. Doing it proper. Yeah, I like
it's
it.
fangirling right
like
here.
It.
Let's start with the fans, as we always do.
Got to.
The most important people. You did something a bit different this time, and you were like FaceTiming them from around.
Oh yeah.
The
yeah,
world,
that
right?
was that was a good afternoon. That spoke to loads of different people, loads of different countries, and yeah, they think they went to like the local Sony or like whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really nice, really nice.
How did you select those people first of all? Do you know?
think it will have been done through label because I don't like to make those decisions because you're always going to let someone down.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
like to be able to blame the label if needs be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think people who also had like known like fan groups from certain countries, like they were contacted and stuff, and then also some competition winners and that. But it was nice. It was a pretty crazy day. I was in like however many different countries on Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Was that a little bit nerve-wracking? Like, tell me about the moments that you were waiting to like pop up on their screen and stuff.
I think no. I feel like I've got a proper comfortable relationship with him.
Yeah.
So it were exciting just to speak to almost a small kind of version of what the tour might be like. Speaking to loads of people from loads of different countries and getting their reaction kind of live, what they thought of the single and that. And they asked me some questions, some of them as crazy as always. So it was fun. It was fun.
What was the craziest one?
Oh, I can't remember now, but just there's always pretty crazy ones. My least favourite question in the world, just so
Yeah.
everyone knows to never ask me this.
Come on now.
Is, I hope you haven't asked me it before as well.
Oh my God, I'm
Maybe
scared.
in my last interview. Is what is your favourite fucking superpower? I mean, if I hear that one more time, what's your favourite superpower?
I don't think I have.
Yeah. If you had a superpower, what power would you have? It's like, I've never thought about it. You know what I mean? I don't
That's
know.
so funny.
So yeah, there's the question I don't like.
I think I asked once how squidgy this part of your nose was to try and get a gif of you like doing that, basically. So I have
funny,
asked some
that's
dodgy
funny.
questions.
Yeah, but at least it's individual. You know what I mean?
True. No one
Yeah.
else has asked that since, I assume.
That's true. That's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair play. I appreciate your honesty. You actually did a gig abroad recently, didn't you? Was it Madrid?
In Madrid, yeah, which was amazing. Until now, I've only done like, the odd performance here and there, TV show, radio show. So at the most, it's been like 4 songs that I've had to perform. But I headlined that, and it was I think I did 10 songs. And I loved it. It was kind of jumping in at the deep end. Like I said, I'd not really done like a full set like that, but it was good practice for the tour. The crowd were amazing. It rained all day except for when I performed, so I was buzzing about that. Yeah, it was nice.
You look really comfortable. Was that?
Yeah, I think there'd been a lot of preparation that had gone into that. Even though it was just one show, I did like a couple of months rehearsal for it to make sure it was right and that. So I felt confident up there, and I felt like I've been eager to get up on stage for a while now. So I felt like I deserved it. You know what I mean? So I wanted to take the opportunity and enjoy it.
So cool. How do you mentally either prepare or deal with the aftermath of coming off stage to that many screaming people?
Well, if I'm being honest, I normally go on a night out. And,
Okay, yeah.
and that's not me just trying to sound like laddie or whatever. Honestly, you come off and you're so buzzing, and it was such a, it's such a crazy experience that words, it doesn't really do it justice, and you're feeling on this amazing high and you want to do something with it. So normally we go out after that. But yeah, it was a real moment in my career, like first, headline set and that, and I thought the crowd took to it really well. I was proud of myself that day.
So bearing in mind the fact you're going on a world tour, which is so sick.
Can't wait.
Are you looking for recommendations for places to go whilst you're out and about? Or?
Well, a little bit, because when we toured with the band, loads of people say, what's this country like, or what's this city like, and most of them I don't really know. I've seen the back of a tour bus. I've been in a hotel room. So I am going to try and get out a bit more this time and see a bit more of these places, you know what I mean?
Are you into it? Are you into like cultural sort of stuff, or are you a bit kind of like homeboy?
I'm not going to lie. I feel like as I'm getting a bit older, you know what I mean? I'm starting to be more interested in those kind of things. And again, I was like 21 when I was on the tour, so I was less interested. But now I think as time goes on, I'm interested in all that.
Okay. I've written down here, because Was there a recent interview where you're talking about film memorabilia?
Oh, yeah. I bought some silly ones.
So I'm wondering, are you secretly a geek, Louis Tomlinson?
No chance.
Damn it!
It's a good act, isn't it?
Yeah, can you imagine?
No. What I'm now, I don't mean to worry anyone. You know what I mean? I'm a bit more sensible these days.
Yeah.
But in my career, I've been very good at wasting money.
Okay.
Very good at it. And that's, even before I was in the band, I'd always spent my week's wages that weekend and then I'd go hard up for the rest of the week, And I was going through one of these times in my life, just a bit of background. When I bought my house, I looked at it over Liam's shoulder on a laptop. I never went to view it, right? You know what I mean? This is how silly and frivolous I was in past.
Oh, God.
So anyway, it's around this time. And I found out I've always been a bit of a fan. What are them? Is it Hard Rock Cafe and that? Where they've got alt movie props in there. Proper chavvy, innit? Anyway, I've always been a big fan of that. So I started buying random ones. And my best piece I've got are the leg braces in Forrest Gump. 1 of 3, I think. Now, I've never got these out of the box. So I bought them. I looked at them. I can remember looking at them and thinking, this is amazing. But also what's weird is I'm not really a showy person. So I'm not about to have them in centerpiece in my house and be like, here, have a look at this.
Yeah.
So now I'm just left with these amazing movie props.
That's so weird of like the timeline of history to be like, oh, now that's in Louis Tomlinson's house. Do you know what I mean?
That's why I'm glad they're 1 of 3. Because
Yeah.
if it was like 1 of 1, I'm like, yeah, this is it's a little bit disrespectful for me to keep it in the box. Do you know what I mean? So I'll get them out one day.
Okay.
I'll get them out one day.
Don't
Maybe I'll
put
bring
'em
them
on.
into a music video. You know what I mean?
That'd be so funny. You mentioned, I was listening back to some old interviews that you did, and you mentioned watching the Fire documentary, and obviously that was a long time ago, right?
Funny, yeah.
But do you watch like other documentaries? I'm continuing down this geek path, by the way.
Yeah, I'm aware. I do like documentaries. I like pretty dark documentaries normally, to be honest. I'm
Okay.
quite interested in psychology, so like serial killers, you know what I mean? That kind of vibe. I'm interested, you know what I mean?
100%.
And often, from a psychology angle, it's quite thought-provoking watching those things, But in terms of what I've been watching at the moment, I've just finished Peaky Blinders, finally. I was a bit late on that, the latest series. That was good. Documentaries. Oh, actually, I watched some absolutely amazing last night. I can't remember what it was called, but they were MCing in Blackpool. It was the grime scene.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm gutted. They've only done 2 episodes. I'm going to watch the first one tonight. I watched the second one last night, and that were in Blackpool. Honestly, it just proper reminded me of home. Everyone's trying it with MCing in that back home. And it was just a really good watch. Really good watch.
Did you ever try MCing?
We did actually. I mean, it was a bit of a thing at school. That'd be how you'd rip each other every now and then. You'd get into it. I did when I was younger, yeah. There's probably a video out there somewhere of me trying to cane someone.
You mentioned about being laddie. First of all, I've decided that I need to get into football.
Okay.
I chose a football team to support based on their mascot.
Okay.
Which probably wasn't a good idea because we just got beaten at the weekend. Crystal Palace.
You're already using the right terminology though. We just got beat at the weekend.
Right,
I like it.
Exactly. I did nothing towards it, but still I'm taking every credit for it.
What mascot do they have out of interest?
Crystal Palace have an eagle.
Okay, cool. Right.
And they actually have a live eagle called Kayla.
Right.
Who flies from one goal to the other at the start of every match.
Wow, okay.
Which I thought was lovely.
A very random football thing, that. Yeah,
I know.
Okay. So Crystal Palace, your team.
Yeah. Have you got any tips for me to kind of throw myself into it?
If you're really going to get into it, you know what I mean? You need to get in the full terrace gear. You know what I mean? You need to be full Sergio Tacchini, track top, knackered tracky bottoms. Yeah, some nice fresh trainers. Yeah.
I was thinking
what you need to watch is there's that show, it's on Netflix. Danny Dyer's Real Football Factories.
No!
Honestly, it's gold. It's gold. You've got to check it out.
I was going to ask you about, because you are laddie, you like football, you like going out, you like indie music. What's the least laddie thing about you? Are you secretly into baking? That's what I'm looking for.
Nah, I'm not into baking or like that. I suppose the fact that I'm for a bloke, you know what I mean? I speak about my feelings and that. That's probably opposite of laddie, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'd probably say that.
Yeah, and you write
Bit of
them
a softie
down.
at art.
Okay,
you know what
nice.
I mean?
Okay, like a, what is it? Like an M&M. So you got the hard shell but the soft centre.
There we go. Never been likened to M&M. That's nice.
First time for
Yeah.
everything. Okay, the album.
The album.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We've waited so long. We've been so patient. We are
Proper
now
patient.
thumping at your door. So tell us everything that you can tell us. What are we expecting? A lot of big tracks, a lot of mellow tracks. Like, what are we expecting?
I think, you know, like any decent album, there's light and shade throughout it. I feel like the consistency comes in the lyric more than the sonic. Like, obviously, I've tried to develop an identity musically, and I think that definitely comes across as a full piece. But I think one thing that kind of remains is my lyrical style, and the fact that it's kind of honest and to the point, and often from the heart. So that kind of gives it the glue, really.
There's a lyric that always comes back to me, and I don't know why it just like pops into my head randomly, but it was like, tattooed on my heart are the words of your favourite song. So that imagery, is that going to be throughout the album as well?
Yeah, I've spoken in the past before. One of the great things that I learned across the way as a songwriter was actually through of all places, through the Amy Winehouse documentary, which is, you know, a pretty heavy documentary to watch. But I was always a massive fan of her and how real she was and how cool she was and honest and stuff. And they talk about her writing process in the documentary, and they talk about when she went through these poignant moments in her life, she would note down all the detail around her, what she was wearing, what she could smell, what she could see. And that level of detail and imagery, I think, is amazing. And naturally, you know, as time goes on and you recall these memories, to remember to that detail is difficult. So you've got to kind of realise that something is interesting is happening to you and kind of note down the things that you see and smell and all that. So I think I kind of took that on board. And yeah, I think imagery is massively important, especially if you want things to feel relatable. You've got to be able to see them, you know.
Is there anything that's off limits for you?
I don't think so. It makes my writing process kind of easier that, you know, often it doesn't really matter if I'd worked with someone 3 months or if this would be first session with them, and I'll just go in, I think naturally where I grew up, I don't have any problem just kind of speaking my mind and saying this is how it is. So in terms of lyrical content, I don't really think anything's off limits, no. I'm
intrigued by your songs. They're all still very close to home, despite the fact that you live this big lifestyle. You know, you are a celebrity, let's face it, and you've been to LA and you've done all those things. Ed Sheeran, for example, has written with Khalid Beautiful People, and it talks about like and I know that you've mentioned that before. Is that something that you'd be interested in writing about, what it is to be famous and all that other stuff, or do you just want to focus on relationships?
I think I'm always trying to strive for as much normality as I possibly can in my life. And I think, you know, I wrote a song kind of similar like that called Just Like You. It's kind of talks about fame, or talks about the fact that I'm kind of, you know, we're all the same at the core. But I think as a fan, what makes things interesting isn't hearing about how fake the celebrity industry is, because at the core we all know that, really. You know what I mean? We know that true. I think it's, you know, as a songwriter, it's important to make people feel that even though we're going through this crazy time, that we still feel the same things and we still go through, you know, this similar kind of relationship experiences or whatever.
Yeah, nice. Cool. We also spoke to Sam Fender pretty soon after talking to you.
I've seen that, to be fair.
Did you?
Yeah. All fans tweeted me that.
I thought that was really cute. They really got excited in the fact that he said, like, you deserve the world, and he wants to go for a pint with you. Is that a friendship that's blossoming, or are you just on a different path? Like, what's going on?
Well, listen, obviously I'm a massive fan of his music. You know what I mean? I cannot big up his music anymore. And I think the industry really, really, really needed someone like Sam to come around. So it's perfect timing for that. I think he's faultless as a lyricist, and he's a proper good lad. I went to see his show, and we had a couple of beers there, to be fair. And he's a proper sound lad. But naturally, we're always working away. We literally, just as I left New York, I think just as he left New York, I landed in New York, so we just missed each other this time round, but next time.
What is America like in terms of how different is it to the UK, and what's your experience over there like, with especially going to the radio stations and stuff? Because I imagine.
Yeah, you know, if England is is, you know, quite different or very different to America, Doncaster is extremely different to LA, you know what I mean? So I think it took me, you know, I spend a lot of time there, so it took me a second with just the differences really. And also, you know, a lot of people are in LA for different reasons, you know what I mean? They're looking for that step up the ladder. So I think unless you know you're the right people in LA, I think sometimes it can be a bit of a lonely place because a lot of people are kind of thinking for themselves, you know what I mean? It's a bit of a stereotype, but you know what I mean? There are people out there, definitely, these Hollywood searchers, you know. And I think, but one thing that I admire over there, which we're harsh on here, is there is a lot more judgment over here. You know what I mean? In England, a lot more judgment. Whereas just in America, they're happier to champion their people. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, like anywhere, there's differences.
Yeah,
but
sure.
but they are a crazy bunch. And when you go and have a good show there, like they are mental. Like they know how to have a good time.
Okay. I just like the idea of like the buzz of New York City, for example. You just talked about being there and how that fuels you, perhaps being in an environment like that.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, everything's on top of each other at New York anyway, so you feel the presence of the fans and you know, the amazing city, really. But one thing that I do notice is, you know, there might be times where, you know, a lot of my interviews I will do face to face and that, but there'll be times where I do phone interviews and say I'll wake up at like early for me, whatever time that is, but in my head it's early, you know what I mean? So I'll wake up and I'm not quite ready for my phoner. And there is a slightly different tone on the American interviews. You know, they're a little bit deeper. They ask deeper questions, things that are a bit more thought-provoking and all that. So I've kind of got to be like switched on and ready for it. Because I'm pretty black and white person, you know what I mean? Whereas they like to be quite over-analytical on the words and what does this really mean to you, you know? Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Have you ever said anything in an interview and you're like, why did I just say that?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I feel like, I mean, I've had this all my life, but a lot of the time I speak first and then think after, you know what I mean? And sometimes under pressure, it's a mad one. You know, you'll just be asked a question and then there will be times where I'll look back and listen to an interview or something and I'll be like, I literally no idea why I said that. You just like under pressure, you need an answer, boom, you'll have this one, you know what I mean?
Good. I'm going to think very carefully about what you've previously said to me in interviews. So good to catch up. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for chatting to me, and I'm so excited for next year. It's going to be a big year.
Hopefully.